Hey, it's Aaron the Metal Theologian. Kind of been a while. Guess it took a couple weeks off, but you know, these things aren't necessarily planned all the time. I've been playing this shit a lot though, man. This is fucking Hombre Humano. Yeah, this is one of these bands that I've kind of been talking about a lot. These guys are on, I don't say they're on Argonauta, but doesn't matter. They're from Argentina. They're on Interstellar Smoke. That's the deal. That's how I found out about them, because the label did other cool stuff and like the cover looked cool. So I checked one out and I fucking loved it. I think I might like this one even better. That's the second one. I think the first one's still out here too. I might have put it away. Now there it is. If you've been playing this shit too much, it hasn't been making it back to the shelf. You know, that's the other Hombre Humano that I have. Both these are just fucking fantastic, man. You know, I don't know what anyone else means when they're talking about like desert rock, but this is the kind of shit I imagine. Sort of like a laid back groove, a lot of fuzz, not necessarily a lot of like overt like distortion, like in terms of like distortedness, but a lot of fuzz, you know? So yeah. So speaking of a lot of fuzz, yeah, I saw that someone had these anyway to get them for the show, so fucking, this is the Peeps Pepsi. I actually busted one of these out the other night when I was on Pat's stream over at Ground Zero Salem. I assume you're all subscribed to him. But yeah, so I kind of cheated a little bit. If you already watched that, I might be dicking you over a little bit right now. But I went into the room to get one of these, and like, my wife was like, "Did you see the Peeps Pepsi?" I was like, "Yeah, I sure as hell did. You better fucking believe it." God bless America. God damn, it's so sweet, man. There's like a buzz of like marshmallowy sweetness. Like you can taste the Pepsi as like the foundation. It's like you taste the Pepsi on like your tongue. And then like there's this weird sort of sweet marshmallowy hit that like pops up to the roof of your mouth. You know what I mean? Sort of in your soft palate. And like it kind of comes in two waves. So you sort of sip it and you're like, it's good and it's sweet, but bump. And then the other kind of hit comes when it hits the roof of your mouth. You're like, oh shit, man. There's something else going on here. So I'm sort of coming to the end of this stoner rock kick, and I can kind of tell because, like, you know, like all these records still sound really fucking good to me, and I've been playing them a lot. You know, like Hombre Humano, and like these fucking Soldati records are right here, man. Like yeah, like this fucking one. The last time I played this record was like yesterday. It's so fucking good, man. But like, I played this record by Temple of Deimos, and these guys have this weird, like, sort of English band vibe. You know, sort of like a Manchester band. They don't quite sound like this, but you know who they really made me think of was the Diagram Brothers. Now again, they really don't, like, the writing style and the performance style are completely different. It's just something about the color. And it's something that seems really anachronistic for a modern band. And really, actually, this cover, like, doesn't belong on this record. Hang on, let me start this. Actually, I'm going to start with side 2, because I like this song better. Yeah, so this is Temple of Deimos, right? And, like, this is definitely, like, a stoner rock record, you know? Sorry, my ankle's still a little fucked up, so... Anyway, it's definitely a stoner rock record, but, like, it has an English vibe to it. And this cover makes it look like way more of a stoner rock record than it actually is, you know? Because it has sort of an English thing going, you know? See, I've known about this band for a long time, and I've always kind of gravitated towards their singles. Full disclosure, we've lost touch a little bit, but I was very good friends with a member of the Diagram Brothers. It's funny too, because this is one of those records where it came with these inserts, and it's on like this heavy cardboard. So you don't see the record very often anyway, unfortunately, but when you do see it, the cover's always jacked, because those inners just like sort of rip it apart when you like pick it up if you're not super careful. It's a little bit of a bummer, but it's kind of funny, you know? Anyway, it's funny because I've known this for a long time, but it's like I put this on a few days ago and I was like, wow, you know, Fraser Diagram really has an unusual guitar playing style. And Andy Diagram on bass is fucking cutting it up. So this is the Diagram Brothers. This is their only LP called Some Marvels of Modern Science. And actually, Fraser is in fact a physicist in real life, so it's kind of funny that the shit sort of, there are these parallel interests, but... Anyway, it's a really cool record, and there's shit on YouTube and that too, so... So I've sort of been looking for other stuff like this, right? So I always end up going back to the fucking Sons of Arca. I don't know why. But this one really kind of scratched the itch more than I expected, because for some reason I was expecting this one to sound more sort of sitar-y in that, like the way... Which is more like sort of the sound that I associate with them based on like their later records, like, what's it called? Kokomorochi, I think the one is called, with the green cover, Alapjo Jahala. But, this one is a lot more, if I say it's more dancey, that makes it sound like something it doesn't sound like. But it has more of a beat, you know what I mean? And it sort of has more of a kinship with this sort of era of, whatever this is. Is this new wave? I don't know. It's not really punk. Is it post-punk because it's not really punk? I don't know. Anyway, it's a really cool Sons of Arca record. Yeah. I just sought this one out because of Vinyl Richie fucking talking about it, but I just kind of got my hands on a copy on this recently. Because, I don't know, I was never really that interested in, like, the bands that seemed to have been influenced by Death in June and that, you know, I knew they were a band that was one of those bands that was sort of revered in certain circles, but I just kind of didn't give a shit about the whole sort of scene, so I didn't pay a lot of attention. But the fact is, Vinyl Richie generally knows what he's talking about. When I disagree with him on things, it's usually pretty clear to me why I disagree, you know what I mean? Like, there are certain things, there are certain styles of music and certain idioms that he likes a lot more than I do, and, you know, vice versa, too, you know, it's just, that's called having taste, right? Like, you know, when someone else likes a band that you respect, but you just don't care for, it's, you know, it just means you have taste. If you don't respect the band, that's different. That might also mean you have taste, though, let's just be clear. I was sort of bracing myself for that afterhead. You know, I might have overhyped it a little bit. If you just take a sip like you're just drinking, and if you were just like chugging the shit down, you wouldn't notice. But it is very sweet. If you sort of take a second, you can taste the peat flavoring in there. I don't know how the hell they did that. Anyway, this record was kind of a lot weirder than I expected, and really... See, I decided it was time to check it out because I felt like I was more open to a lot of the things about this record that I wouldn't have liked in the past, like the drum machines. You know, like when I was like more into metal, like in the 80s and 90s, the drum machine would have put me off instantly. And now I actually really dig the drum machine. So something like that becomes an acid on the other end, you know? I just something I see as different. So, yeah, still kind of digesting it. But it's a really good record. It's a really interesting record. And, you know, I revisited Throbbing Gristle again a couple of years ago, and I was getting really industrial, really into the industrial shit for the first time ever when I was like 48 or whatever I was. Not quite that old, but almost. Anyway, I revisited Throbbing Gristle, and I was really kind of disappointed. They just didn't seem all that, like, interesting. It was sort of like, they're doing this abstract shit, but I have like 100 other records that sound like this, and I just sort of feel oversaturated. Maybe this was novel in 1978, but it just... I was surprised at how little it impressed me, you know what I'm saying? I did not feel that way about the Death in June. With Death in June, I was like, I can see where this would have influenced a lot of people. Fuck, you know, sort of related to this. I know about Eric Random because of the Diagram Brothers. Eric Random was definitely listening to Death in June on that great EP. That's What I Like About Me, which I don't have out right now. Yeah, this is another one I like pulled out. This is kind of an underrated record. I think I heard Well, Sean, who changed his channel name every couple weeks, he'll probably change it now just because I said that. But I think he talked about Punishment of Luxury. And it's a cool record. It's a really eccentric record. It kind of gets lumped in with the punk rock, and it's kind of easy to overlook. And I think it is kind of overlooked. I mean, this is really kind of a legitimately sort of a hidden gem, you know, in that it's a record that's not very well known, but also isn't very expensive. At least it wasn't last time I checked. And it's just legitimately really good. It's a little bit bouncier than what I was in the mood for this time, but it's a really cool record, man. It's like if you sort of take like a Madness or like a ska sort of vibe, but you take out all like the hokey like ska bullshit and like all the goofiness and basically everything that makes that band suck. You're probably still not really getting anywhere near there, so fuck it. If I think of something better, I'll take another run at it, but I don't think that's a good description at all. Always got to pull out a little Killing joke. Kind of just came back to some of these later records, you know. I always like the singles and shit, but like the second, third, and fourth records, I sort of cast aside a little bit for a while at one point. I don't even really know why. Maybe because the singer was cleaner on Fire Dances, you know. It's not Revelations doesn't sound as distorted as the first album. I don't know, man. Sometimes shit makes sense to you when you're 22. That doesn't make any fucking sense a few years later, you know? Anyway, I really like this record. Really good songs. I've also heard it a ton of times, so it's like I can't even be objective. I was still in high school when I bought my first copy of this record, so I kind of can't be objective on that one at all. But fuck being objective, I'm going to show off my copy of the first one that I also played. So, it's a gatefold version. I actually bought this the last time I was in Germany in like 1990. So, yeah, look at that shit. If you're in the US, you might have never seen that before. Or maybe you have, and I just hadn't when I bought this thing. When I was fucking 16 or whatever the fuck I was. Yeah, I really kind of don't have anything to talk about today, so we're just going with like whatever comes, you know. Pulled this one out, Dub Housing. It's a cool record, but didn't quite capture the vibe I was going for. You know, I think I got to cop to something too. I really like Pere Ubu, but I really don't like David Thomas's singing on these. Like, I can tolerate him. I think a big part of why I like Rocket from the Tomb so much more is because he seems a little bit less sort of... I mean, if we're going to use a non-pejorative term, I would say stylized. Frankly, I would have to just say annoying. Like, the way he sort of, like, warbles and shit. Yeah, I just fucking don't dig it, man. So, like, I really like the songs on this thing, you know? It's sort of refreshing, and it's like with the first one, I, like, played the shit out of when I got it, the Modern Dance. And I ended up getting the third one, New Picnic Time, which I liked a lot less. And then there was a few years before I got my hands on Dub Housing. And so I never quite digested this one as much as the first one. But maybe that's good, because it's always an interesting album to listen to, you know what I mean? Because, like, David Thomas is annoying, but the song structures are still so weird, and there's so much going on. It's really easy. It's sort of like if you go to a party, and, like, it's a really cool party, but there's one guy there who's kind of a chode, you know? It's sort of like that. So, like... And I'll tell you something. I think I kind of talk a lot about the virtue of, like, not being interested in lyrics and shit. But I think it really helps with something like this, because if I literally... I mean, it doesn't even occur to me to give a fuck what David Thomas is singing about on this thing, right? So, like... If I don't care about the words... Sorry, my nose is so itchy. I think it's, like, allergies or something. I fucking lost my train of thought now because of the fucking itching here. It doesn't matter. There's just so much going on this fucking record. There really is. And there are all sorts of new things to hear and that sort of thing too. And again, I'm not completely sure if that's because I haven't listened to this one as much as the other ones, or if it's really that layered, because it's not as far out as New Picnic Time, and I like that about it. On New Picnic Time, David Thomas is kind of more annoying than on this one. It's like if you're at a party with like 3 people and one of them's a chode, as opposed to with 10 people and one of them's a chode, which is more like this one. So there you go, that's my analogy. I'm not saying David Thomas is a chode, I have no idea. I do have his old copy of the first Tin Huey 45. I've shown that off a couple times. But, yeah, I don't think I've ever admitted that before. It's kind of a funny thing. It's like this revelation. I kind of just, like this light just went on. I just really don't like David Thomas, you know? It's kind of one of those guys, when you're into that kind of music for a long time, it's like The Residents, you know what I mean? If you're into the kind of music that I'm into, you've got to like The Residents. You're just expected to like The Residents, you know what I mean? It's like, of course you like The Residents, you know? Just like Frank Zappa, you know what I mean? Like, you can have mixed feelings about Frank Zappa, like I kind of do, because he went through a lot of phases and shit, but fundamentally, you're going to have a certain appreciation, you know? And so, like, to say that I just don't like David Thomas kind of militates against that. It militates against this whole hip persona that I've built up for myself in my, over the course of my life. Isn't this great? I suppose you might be bummed if you're here for the metal. You know, I've been thinking about doing a video. This is the metal stack that I have over here. This is like shit that either people have talked about, or like things that have come up for sale for a good price, or I got for one reason or another, that are metal, that I put aside for like when I'm actually ready to listen to metal. And there are a couple things in here that I'm talking about. Like that this section record is probably still in here. Because there are a couple things that I like played once. I actually played this one a few times. I had this on tape, but I just got this on record. But I really like this record, man. Even the fucking Beatles cover. If they were gonna do a Beatles cover, that's about the best they possibly could do. I still wouldn't have put it on their album if I were the producer. I would have strongly advised against it. But even that does not like bring this album down. It's just really good. It's not like 80s Trouble. It does not like Run to the Light. And maybe it's because I'm on a stoner kick, although this is pretty metal for when I'm really in the stoner kick, you know what I'm saying? This record does not sound like Monoskilled, you know? But, yeah, but don't snooze on it, man, because Plastic Green Head, if you want to hate it, there are reasons for you to hate it. I'm just saying there are lots of reasons to like it, too. Anyway, it might be fun to talk about the ones that are sort of sitting over there, but the time to do it would probably be like right when I get back into it, so I'm enthusiastic about that shit. Yeah, I might have shown this one last video, but I've still been playing this record kind of a lot, too. That's the first Stranglers, man. I'm really into this. And like, get a grip on yourself. It's still the best use of parentheses in any song ever. You see that shit? Classic. Yeah, I totally wasn't ready for this band when I first heard them. When I was like 20 or something like that. But this thing is just brilliant. You know, it's snotty and weird and eccentric, and it has a weird keyboard sound, which I have a soft spot for, man. You know, I'm not exactly obsessed with Elvis Costello at this point in my life, but I even had a soft spot for like that keyboard sound on this year's model and shit like that when I was more into that sort of music, you know. What else have we not talked about? Yeah, here's it. I'm still digesting this. I'm going to hype it just a little bit just because they're called The Horned God. And I mean, look at that, dude. I took one look at that cover. And there's like some indie band, right? I think they're from Texas. Yeah, it's another Desert Records band. They put out that Red Mesa record that I showed a while back. So I actually got this from the label. And they might, I want to say they're in Albuquerque, actually. But I could be wrong about that. Pretty sure the band is from Texas, but I don't know why I'm pretty sure of that. I probably saw it on the website or something, because there's an insert in here, but the odds are against my having read it. So, dude, look at that shit. So, yeah, So these guys are definitely sort of on the metallic side of like the stoner rock shit. But this record kind of smokes, man. Like, it does it in sort of a low-key way. It sort of gets under your skin. It's more like the sort of thing where you're like listening to it and you're like, God damn, this is really good. Then like you're like, oh, just like instant pog, you know what I'm saying? But it's a really cool record, man. Yeah, the Horn God is onto something. Yeah, I'll talk about that one some more as I've taken it in a little bit more. But I like hyping these bands. I actually put a tape over here too. Scott Waters actually put me onto this band. In fact, we're going to check this out together. Because this is like, there's a special place in my heart for the Bandcamp bands that just have tapes on there. Oh, fuck. Sorry, I'm like all fucked up here. Alright, so here's what we're going to check out, man. Fucking Fuzz Voyage. And this is all there is, alright? It'd be funny if they gave me like copyright pop for this shit. But you want to know a secret? When people talk about that shit, they're full of bullshit. When people are like, oh, I better not say the word SEX or else YouTube is going to censor me. Just fuck. You think YouTube gives a shit about YouTube? Come on, man. It's like, grow up, you know? Alright. So honestly, I set this over there to listen to before I started the video. And then I waited so long to make the video. I was like, I gotta fucking get a video out. So we're listening to it for the first time together, man. I'm happy to feature it because you know something? Your fucking cover looks like that, your demo cover. And I'm on your side. Yeah, there we go, man. Let's check it out for a minute. And we'll check out this cover too, because this cover is really good, man. You know, Jade Heart isn't something to snooze on. Look at that. And look at this, the Heavy Compass Devo. How can you resist that, man? God, this is fantastic. I listened to a little bit online before I started too. Well, I gotta say, I'm kind of glad this thing is done. It's funny, I was a little bit pissed because they only had these little wimpy ass cans. And like, this isn't a fucking... You know, it's like, if you're actually thirsty, it's like, who do you think you're kidding? You know? But, I'm kind of glad that isn't a big fucking, like, 16-ounce fucking Magnum or whatever, you know? Hell yeah, man, this Fuzz Voyage. The Heavy Compass demo, which as far as I know is the only one that's on any physical medium. There might be more in their Bandcamp, but and I'll try to remember to put a link down at the bottom anyway, because it's fucking good. And it's cool to support bands like this. I mean, fucking $10, dude, it sounds like this. Like, what the fuck are you sneezing at? Hell yeah. And they're instrumentals, so there's gonna be a singer that comes in and fucks up the groove or anything like that. Alright, I should probably cut this because otherwise it's gonna happen and they're gonna wait too long before I upload. I'm gonna forget to put a link to their Bandcamp in the fucking description like a dunce. So lest I do that, we're gonna go back to watching Heavy Metallurgy. Thanks for watching.